Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and this is kind of like a part 3 to my last 2 videos. I just keep, there's so many different things I wanted to kind of go over. Where I'm still at here is Charles Gasparino's tweet from the other day. And basically for the first time we find out that Gary, apparently, I guess it was Jay Clayton that told Charles Gasparino that Gary Gensler met with him on March 22nd, 2018. That's what kind of led me on it. That was the first time, and he said that he had advised him on Bitcoin. He didn't say anything about Ethereum. But once I saw that, I was like, okay, this starts bringing back memories. Gary Gensler popped up out of nowhere. So, I'm hot on the trail here. I'm convinced, and I can't prove it, but I'm convinced that Gary Gensler was somehow involved in the whole Ethereum free pass. That's just my opinion right now. I can't prove it, but I'm just sitting here thinking it all makes sense that he would have been in some type of an advisory capacity. Don't know it for sure yet. Okay, so on 3/22/18, he meets with Jay Clayton. 3/26, 4 days later, the Venture Capital Working Group, of which Union Square Ventures is a member, sends the safe harbor document to the SEC. And then on the 28th, 2 days later, Brad Burnham of Union Square Ventures presents on behalf of the Venture Capital Working Group at the SEC. And then on the 22nd of April, Gensler's in the New York Times and pops up out of nowhere and says he thinks XRP and Ethereum are securities. Then on 4/26/2018, Gensler is at the Off the Chain conference with Nick Grossman, a partner with Union Square Ventures. Now, first of all, where did I get this? 3/28/2018, Brad Burnham, Union Square Ventures, presents on behalf of the Venture Capital Working Group at the SEC. I got it from here. This is Nancy Wotas from Cooley LLP. She said it. He's sitting right beside her.
The technology.
Well, if I can get it to play.
And I think that's where Brad came in and made an incredibly effective presentation in one of the days that we met with a variety of people at the commission as well as the CFTC. And so we got to hear the presentation at least 6 times that day, but it was so effective, and you could see light bulbs going on in their heads as to, oh gee, we didn't really quite grasp that concept.
Brad, do you mind?
So that's Brad Burnham from Union Square Ventures. So let me go back one sec. So my point is that after, in this timeline, so Gensler's involved in the dialogue. Now all they've told us so far is that he talked to Clayton about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, that doesn't make much sense because Bitcoin never was much of a question. Not that as far as not being a security. So my antenna's up there, but Ethereum was, and I just have a hard time buying that he sat down with Jay Clayton and the elephant in the room, which is Ethereum, was not discussed. And the reason is that on March 22nd, Clayton had set in motion the whole Venture Capital Working Group back in January. So the idea that Gensler sat down with him and he just, I'm not going to talk about Ethereum, it's absurd, like a lot of this is. And then so basically Gensler has been put right here in the mix. Well, then I went and found this, where this guy, Nick Grossman from Union Square Ventures, on April 26th, is at a conference on a panel with Gary Gensler. Are you telling me that at no time between here and there, even on a panel with someone from Union Square Ventures, when Gary Gensler is the go-to guy about blockchain at MIT, you're telling me that Gary Gensler was not aware of the venture capital working group and what was going on? I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. This is Nick Grossman, general partner at Union Square Ventures. Okay, now let's check in with the official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel.
All right, fam. Digital asset bias taught us a lot of things, but one of them are that words matter. Check out his video, the second one yesterday, Hester Peirce's article, Words Matter. If government wants to bring law to crypto, they should act lawfully.
He is right. He is right. When I saw her tweet yesterday, and then I even got 2 or 3 people on the phone and asked them. I said, "Did she just accuse some people in government of not acting lawfully on Twitter?" Because that was the takeaway, and I think the official cool guy took that away as well. I even asked my father, who's the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel. I said, "How do you hear that when you see that in a tweet?" He said the same thing. So really, really crazy. Well, and then there's this. She had put out, Hester Peirce had put out in that tweet yesterday, she had put out a link, and there was a thing that a whole article she had written up on the SEC's website. Well, apparently this one of the commissioners, Crenshaw, fired a shot back at her with saying that she basically disagreed with her. And Hester Peirce then fires this off. "I'm happy my colleague, Commissioner Crenshaw, thought about the safe harbor, but I'd be happier if she thought about it differently as a way to achieve valid investor protection goals without inhibiting the development of user-controlled networks." And then Stuart Alderoty retweeted the article that this Caroline Crenshaw, there was an article that was written about what she said, and he said, "Appreciate the sentiment of bridge building, but 1, many have embraced compliance. 2, seems like the only reward for cooperating with the SEC is an enforcement action or the threat of one. But good to know Commissioner Crenshaw is at least reading crypto Twitter." Now, I think when I read that, I was like, Stuart Alderoty is telling the people at the SEC, "I'm glad you're watching Twitter, because that means you're seeing all of the things that are being shown about what has gone on here." If I'm Stuart Alderoty, I'm so giddy I'm about to pee in my pants based on everything that's being shown out here in crypto Twitter, because all of it is the truth. Everything being shown are facts, their own words in videos, and asking questions saying, "What in the world is this? And why this? There looks like there's a lot of smoke here." That's all that's going on out here as far as from my end. And when you listen to like John Deaton, it's just pointing out facts and things that happen, factual events, their own words. And then in a lot of these places, there just seems to be a ton of smoke. Now, right here, when I was looking at Stuart Alderoty's tweet, I said, well, maybe I'll go and look at and see what Stuart Alderoty's been liking these days. And it turns out that Ripple video that was put out here in the last day, that was a really good video if you haven't watched it. But anyway, the Ripple video, someone had retweeted it and said "train leaving the station" symbol, and so he liked that. Now that's a reference to "the train has already left the station." That was a quote from Rosie Rios, who's I think on the board at Ripple. Now, from all this Gensler stuff, I have a couple of questions. First one is this. Is it possible that Gary Gensler's 3/22/2018 meeting with Jay Clayton also covered the safe harbor memo, which was in progress, and then 4 days later, with Gensler's input, it gets sent to the SEC on 3/26/2018? In other words, does it make any sense to you that he meets with Jay Clayton? Remember, Jay Clayton asked for this memo. He asked for Chris Dixon from Andreessen and Horowitz to put together this venture capital working group and then go and get him a memo. He asked for that in January, like January 24th. And then Just so happens Gary Gensler in March 22nd, meets with him just 4 days before that safe harbor memo arrives at the SEC. You're telling me that Gary Gensler didn't know anything about that safe harbor memo? I don't know it for a fact, but if I'm a betting man, if I was putting my money on the table, I would say that Gary Gensler was one of the people that was putting input into that document, which leads me to the next question. I found John Deaton's tweet. You remember the one where he said, who reviewed and helped write the Hinman speech? Remember when we were all saying this? Who reviewed and helped write the Hinman speech? Who was in the 63 emails that included a draft speech of the speech? Where is Hinman's public calendar? Who purchased large quantities of Ether during these dates? But mainly these three questions. And my question is this. Hey, John Deaton, now that we know Gensler was advising Clayton on digital assets on March 22nd, 2018, is it possible that there is an @mit.edu email address in those 63 emails that went back and forth regarding that speech? See, as much as I've seen, folks, every time something pops out of nowhere where it seems like someone's trying to cover their butt, every time something pops out of nowhere, it just seems kind of weird. Okay, sorry, I lost my train of thought because somebody drove up to pick my son up for Little League baseball, and they got here 15 minutes earlier than they said they were going to, and so I was kind of taken aback. Lost my train of thought there. Okay, so next, in a lot of my research, I happened upon this picture, which I thought was a classic, and I said to caption this. This is Gary Gensler's famous duck test. When I see a bird that walks like a duck and swims like a duck and quacks like a duck, I call that bird a duck. And he's quoting some poet there. But guess what? That duck test does not apply to Ethereum, because Gary Gensler knows full well that Ethereum was a security and should be penalized. And I'll tell you what else he knows. He also knows that Ethereum 2.0, they are in the process of releasing another security, Ethereum 2.0. Joseph Lubin has said several times that they have assembled, they've got several teams that are working at it. He's even mentioned how tough it is that he's coordinating it all. So make no mistake, they're in the process of issuing another security, Ethereum 2.0, and Gary Gensler stands idle. He stands by and does nothing while he sues Ripple, okay? So let's not pretend like things are something that they're not. That's exactly what's going on. Crypto Dim had sent me this video, and I took this clip out of it. It's Tom Emmer being interviewed by this guy.
Or make someone like Ripple or XRP an example to try to essentially kind of secure the market through a little bit of fear.
Or worse yet, I mean, you've got a Fed Reserve chair who has suggested that if we create a central bank digital currency, there will be no need for cryptocurrencies.
For stable stuff.
It's interesting that you comment about the SEC and their, the bandwidth that they might have to do this. Let's keep in mind, though, that what Chair Gensler and the SEC are doing right now is they're literally creating regulation that doesn't exist, by the way, through enforcement or threatened enforcement.
Right.
So even though they may not have the resources, as you point out, to go after all these different things, how do you know if you're going to be the one, right? Yeah. If they're just suggesting and creating confusion in the marketplace, this was my whole point with the chair last week, that you can't do this with your conclusory statements out in the public. You literally could cause harm. And I use the example. You got somebody who offers a token. They agree with Chair Gensler that token is a security, right? That token offering. So they register with the SEC. And I asked the chair point blank, I said, under that scenario, once they've registered with the SEC, will they be able to trade on the New York Stock Exchange? Will they be able to trade on NASDAQ? And he started to answer, which was very frustrated, typical government speak. Well, it depends on, the New York Stock Exchange and what their rules are. Of course it does. But right now, under the rules that exist, no, they would not be able to trade on either of those exchanges.
Let me translate. The whole point of the Ethereum free pass. Figure out a way to get Ethereum and Bitcoin through the door. Then you slam the regulatory door. You tell everybody else, oh yeah, come see us, come talk to us. But nothing ever happens for them. And if it does happen, they register and they're a security, but they can't trade anywhere unless Gary Gensler and his friends allow them to. This was a trap, folks. Make no mistake. This was intentional. Gary Gensler is continuing it, and Ripple must win this lawsuit for the sake of the entire industry. So all you people out there that didn't want to join in on the Ripple bandwagon, you might want to join up. And God bless John Deaton. Go join John Deaton's lawsuit, because he's suing the pants off of these people that did this. Somebody has to hold them accountable. We're trying our best to make sure everybody knows what the truth is. Somebody's got to do it. Speaking of the truth, I found another entry in Jay Clayton's public calendar. We don't have Bill Hinman's public calendar. Can you imagine the fun that we would have with that? The places. There was a book when I was a kid. I remember it's called, I can't remember the exact title, but it was something like, oh, the places we'll go. Oh, the things we'll see, or something to that effect. It's like a book where it says those kind of things. Well, if I could get my hot hands on William Hinman's public calendar. Remember, this guy was on taxpayer. He wasn't just being paid by his old law firm that he went back to. He was also being paid by the taxpayers. But for some reason, we're not supposed to be able to see his public calendar, which was paid for with I'm sure it was taxpayer-funded paper that it's on, or whatever the digital format it's on. That was paid for by taxpayers, but we're not allowed to see it. Oh, the fun we could have looking through that calendar. That calendar, I believe that calendar would blow the lid off of this sky freaking high. What we ought to do is do a Freedom of Information request from everybody that is listening to my channel on that calendar. I know there was one done, I can't remember who it was, an Empower company. I think maybe they did it. But what if we all did it? And then we made a whole thing out of how we've got thousands of Freedom of Information Act requests for a calendar that is funded by the public, by the taxpayer, that they're trying to hide. What in the world is going on? What happened to the United States of freaking America? This is sick, what's going on. This is a sham, is what it is. And it's shameful that our you know what's shameful is that there's not one congressman out there, Republican or Democrat. It's not even a political issue for me. There's not one who has asked for that public calendar. Why not? Just one. Just one person that grows a pair and asks that one question. Nothing else. You don't even have to get into all this other stuff we talk about. The one question. I want one congressman that stands up and says, I want Bill Hinman's public calendar. I want to see it. One congressman. Do you know the fun we could have with that calendar? Do you know what that lid, I'm telling you, the lid would blow freaking sky high. And that's assuming that they didn't redact the whole thing to try to hide things. I mean, this is crazy what's going on. Well, here's something else crazy. On May 29th, 2018, there's one organization that I may have mentioned it before, but I didn't really highlight it. There's two executives, this guy, Bobby Franklin, and this guy, Justin Field from the NVCA. This is something that Nancy Wotas had brought up one time, or once or twice. This organization is called the National Venture Capital Association, and they were also in the Venture Capital Working Group, okay, that created the Safe Harbor memo that was appointed, that Chris Dixon from Andreessen Horowitz went and put together. Two of their executives met with Jay Clayton on May 29th, 2018. This doesn't look like it's anything major. It's like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce meeting or whatever, so maybe there's nothing to it, but it's still two of the members of that venture capital working group meeting with Jay Clayton just a handful of days before the Hinman Ethereum free pass speech. All right, and finally, I'm going to play you the second part of this. This is Larry Fink from BlackRock commenting on cryptocurrency and all that. I just wanted to play you the towards the end here. If I can get this to play.
Go without mentioning the word crypto.
Right here.
I believe there is a huge role for a digitized currency, and I believe that's going to help consumers worldwide. Whether it's a Bitcoin or something else, or more of a governmental official digital currency, a digital dollar, that will play out. But one has to be fascinated about it. It's great new technology. It has attracted so many people. I have more conversation with people on the street related to crypto than anything. So it's fantastic seeing how people have become so fascinated about it that they're showing interest in this. Whether this is going to play out well in the long run, we'll see. As I said, I see huge opportunities in a digitized crypto blockchain related currency. And that's where I think it's going. And that's going to create some big winners and some big losers.
Brad Garlinghouse always said, what was that? Brad Garlinghouse always, I thought I heard a sound. Brad Garlinghouse always said that 99% of crypto would go away. It would eventually go to zero if they had no utility. And I think that was right. And I think what Larry Fink said was right. I think there's going to be a tiny handful of winners. And I think XRP is one of them. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that there's going to be a handful of winners and there's going to be a bunch of losers. And when I say losers, I'm talking about Dogecoin and Shiba Inu and all that garbage that people keep getting into these. I even had my brother call me about investing in Shiba Inu, and granted, he knows that it's not some long-term thing, but I heard that and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I told him, I said, that's not really my thing. Oh, I can't even remember if I said I'm the digital asset investor, so I'll say it again. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. Yeah, I did say it. Okay, you heard it twice. Sorry.